scenario here. If you know what I mean. That's not saying a negative nab scenario. I just mean having a really long game. 3v3 again, so that kind of helps in terms of it not going on forever and ever and ever ever. Let's see, Chinese, Mayans, and Spanish versus Goths, Chinese, and Spanish. So it's 13th Legion opting for the Goths, and they are on the flank against Chinese. Melkor Goths versus Paladin Chinese, and then in the pockets, Vodka Spanish versus Q Mayans. And then on the far flank we have Dark Devil Chinese versus Moonlight Spanish. I'm just gonna have a look at the maps really, because when you've got teams with Spanish and Regicide Fortress, you can see some Conquistador raiding that can be quite effective, but it looks like Dark Devil's base is quite safe from Conquistador raiding. His Rud line sucks because he can barely get any villages around this, and then he can't build a lumber camp anywhere else unless he deletes this and maybe put some there, but then they'll be vulnerable to raiding from Conks. This is going to be vulnerable to Plumed Archer raiding, potentially that gold, although just kind of far. Again, not really much safety here for versus Conquistador raiding, so I think that gold's a bit buggy. He's going to have to delete stuff to get at that, but it's only the house and barracks potentially, so not too bad. But wow, this map for the Goths player is kind of very open. It can be pushed into from this hill quite easily, and there's only one wood line at the back, and the rest of it is way outside the fortress. So that is a potential danger for Iridium, in terms of keeping his eco safe. He can't even stonewall more of it off, obviously, because he's Goths. If he was a different civ, then I would really like a stone wall from here to here to here, or just straight across, just to try and create some safety for this back area of resources, which is going to be really important because this is his only wood line. See if the scout lowered the boar actually is successful. He almost died. Yes. That's going to be absolutely fine. I don't think that Paladin will have as much vulnerability to raiding because he's versus Goths. I guess it's not beyond the realms of possibility that Goths could do some crossbows or whatever, but it's not really very likely. So Paladin has quite a nice base actually. A wall from there, maybe here to here, would create seal off all of this back area nicely, and that will be quite nice for trade later on and claiming those resources. Of course, we want to watch out for any potential king snipes. We've seen some hilarious Regicide Fortress games this year with players losing their kings in ridiculous circumstances, or even nearly losing their kings and then saving them. But I haven't seen anything going on that would lead me to believe we're going to have that happen. And to be honest, it's happened so many times lately to the point of complete ridiculousness that I'd hope players would, they're probably going to be watching for that sort of thing. This is about the closest I've seen a king go at this point to an enemy base. Pretty much you're going to expect to see Market Blacksmith from everyone. They just want to go fast castle. Obviously Regicide Fortress, because you at the start that you have with the villages and the farms and everything, it's just so easy to go fast castle, and anything else against enemy wall bases would just be, it's just not going to work. Pretty much the only way to go super aggressive really early on Regicide Fortress is petards, which did see happen quite famously in one game this year, but other than that, it tends to be players just are going to boom up a little bit, and if their unique unit allows for it, then you're probably going to, like say, Mayan Plumed Archers or Spanish Conquistadors, then you'll just try and do a little bit of raiding, but basically it's about booming up and racing to the late game in more often than not, because it's just so easy to defend when you've got stone walls, castles, towers. I want another 3-hour game. Please no, I will die. And to be honest, there will come a point where I say, like, sorry, but I have to go to bed because I do have to work. I do have a job. Fortunately, that's not going to come too early, and as long as this isn't an outrageously long game, I should be able to bring you the whole game. I had no idea that this was going to be such a long series when I signed up to start streaming it at the time that I did. I'd kind of been promising Taff that I would do them for a couple of days, and I had some time this evening where I could do it. But then I also felt like doing the Hera v Melkor Huns games because we created a really nice overlay for it, or Taff did, and I knew those games were quite quick, so I thought I would fit those in, because it's been a shame that we haven't showcased any Legacy of the Huns much up until this point. Like, Tony's done some, which is great, but I'd love it if we could do a bit more of it, especially with the matchups that are coming up. Whose scout was that going down? I didn't pay too much attention while I was talking. It must have been Q's scout going down into Dark Devils. So obviously, on a map like this where the walls are up, like, losing your scout isn't quite as terrible as losing it on an open Arabia map or something like that, but still you want to know what your opponent is doing, so that was like an unnecessary loss for Q. So Dark Devil and Paladin first to the Castle Age. Paladin's immediately dropping a TC here just on his stone and also helping to secure some wood line. You have to think that he's probably going to, at some point, once he rewalls a little bit, maybe here or something, he might start deleting some of these fortifications just to clear room for farmland. I think that's a good choice of town centre placement for Dark Devil, because he needs to get access to this second wood, since until all this golden berries is out of the way, he can't put any new villagers on wood. I mean, you see that they're actually going idle there because he's got too many villagers trying to gather from one side. So he wants to start gathering wood here, but the problem is it's open to raiding, so he wants the TC there just to allow the villagers to jump in the TC if any raids pop up. King in the tower for vodka. That's fine, we see that quite a lot because players put the king in the tower quite a lot. Some people you haven't seen, like, they wonder why players do that because it's not such a safe structure, but the fact, like, if you're going to be making a unique unit, and Vodka almost certainly will be making his unique unit, then you just don't want to risk ungarrisoning your king from your castle and forgetting about it, or sending it to a stupid gather point on the far side of the map because you were sending your military units there. As I said, when we were looking at Melkor's base, like, so this area is going to be important because it's his second wood line and it's gold, and like, this was literally the only wood line that's anywhere near him. Like, he wouldn't want to go there and take these. These would be quite dangerous. So he wants to create safety on the far side of it to prevent raiding. So that's why that town centre is coming up here. And also third one, obviously taking the gold. See some Chuko Nu raiding coming out from Paladin. So he just wants to see what he can pick off. I think that's quite... I mean, you don't always see Chinese players going Chuko Nu raiding as such because they're not as mobile, but he can kind of expect that the Goth player would have some vulnerabilities in their map because they can't stone wall off in new places. The problem is that if you do Chuko Nus, then they can reply to it with Huskars, which is what's going to happen, and these Chuko Nu could be in a lot of danger. Chuko Nu are, for an archer unit, they're not terrible against Huskars because each of the arrows does damage, so they still do like a minimum amount. and like taking a hill bonus and everything, they'll be able to turn around and kind of snipe these Huskars, but really there's no need. They could just kind of run away, jump in the TC, and then maybe pop out and shoot the Huskars when the Huskars turn back. You see the Huskars just can't survive between the TC fire and multiple Chukonu shots, but still did pick up a couple of kills, so it's an okay trade. Let's see how the booms are going. Paladin on the highest number of villagers for his team, Dark Devil on the highest number of his team. Like, Dark Devil has boomed really well in the series. In the previous game, his boom was insane. You could say he overboomed really, but like, he's definitely a really accomplished boomer. I think he plays quite a lot of Black Forest. I might be wrong with that, but I think he does. So he's obviously got a lot of experience with kind of boom friendly type games. As I said, one thing we could have been seeing was Moonlight doing Spanish conks and coming around here and being really annoying, but thankfully from Dark Devil's point of view, that town centre is going to kind of protect against that. Another good TC here, because securing more gold and woodline, and actually the team wall has come up already, so actually those conks appearing over there was almost never going to happen, considering that team wall. But that is like a really sensible wall to make early on, because it's not many wall tiles, and it's really is very, very wallable, these gaps, and the amount of protection that it offers to the two players for like 20 tiles of wall is insane, because it basically means that the entire base of Vodka and Dark Devil are only vulnerable to raiding units coming through this gap and going around the back, which is a very long way, and they're likely to see it coming. Like, Q is going to have a poke through there, but kind of doubt that he runs all the way around there if you're looking at what I'm saying on the minimap. This is a potentially dangerous 4th TC for Melkor. Not that he's going for the 4th TC, but just that the plumes were there, but fortunately for him they're running the other way. Like, one Huskar wouldn't have been enough. See if any villager kills get picked up for... Sorry, let's see if Q manages to pick up any villager kills. A couple before Vodka reacted. This is pretty typical sort of thing that for Regicide Fortress, just kind of plumed archers poking around the edge and picking up 1 or 2 villager kills here and there, which is, you know, it's nice to get to slow down the opponent's boom, but you can't usually do any major damage. Dark Devil still keeping that villager lead. He's almost 10 villagers ahead of the next player, so he's just booming great, as I said. Fengjin Paladin, another kill here. He's increased his number of Chukonu. He's actually got the largest army in the field at the moment, so he's going for that Chukonu mass quite early. Like, if he manages to mass Chukonu and then just kind of doesn't let them get too exposed to being swamped by Huskars, like, he can do okay against Huskars anyway, just because of that thing I was saying where they fire lots of arrows so that they still do minimum damage. He's actually trying to just troll Melkor a bit and just destroy these farms. Well, troll isn't really the word, because it's a legitimate tactic, but I just love it. As I was saying, it's what seems like hours ago, much earlier in this series. It's just a great way to just really annoy your opponent, because you've just basically meant that 2 farmers are now not farming, and you've just cost your opponent 60 wood. It's just such an easy way to drain your opponent's economy. I like the fact that there's a monk here as well, because like, monks are good against Huskars, but also like 1 or 2 Huskars running in, they might not kill that many Chukonus, they might just damage like 1, but then you can just re-heal them. I think that's a really intelligent addition to that little Chukonu raiding army. And he knows that Melkor's not going to go like mass Huskar, he'll just do like a few Huskars to defend against the archers, because if he goes and mass Huskar in Castle Age, he'll never ever get boomed up, and then he's just going to die anyway. Like, Melkor does need the big boom to make the Goths worthwhile in the late game, so Paladin's kind of taking advantage of that and just doing this to kind of be annoying and steal some Huskars, pick up some villages to kill some farms, and without actually being too much under threat from Melkor just bum rushing him with a million Huskars, because, as I said, it's not really going to be the best move late game. Melkor is on the way to the Imperial Age though, and he's starting to kind of mass Huskars a little bit. It's kind of a low number of villagers but I guess he just wants the fast elite Huskar to try and deal with this. But even so, he's going to need a few more than that if Paladin continues to add monks, but he's got a decent number here as well. This is quite an aggressive castle. I guess it looks like it will go up though. There are now going to be, well, that was unlucky on the RNG front. It seemed to take ages to convert, but there's gone. You see these Huskars at the moment, like the Chukonu can just side them down. All it needs is 1 or 2 Huskars and 1 or 2 monks from, like, converted Huskars and 1 or 2 monks, and the Chukonu can just wreck the Huskars until they get armor and elite. And at that point, like the Chukonu will then need like elite and rocketry and stuff like that to kind of even the fight again. But, you know, Melkor's gone Imperial on a low number of villages, and whilst he was going Imperial, like, he was losing some vills and had idle farm vills here. Q was sitting on his farms over here. So he's gone Imperial quickly as Goths with quite a weak economy, and also it feels, and I don't think he's going to be able to spam Huskars to the extent that he needs to. I don't think he's getting elite Huskar. Oh, he's got elite Huskar at least. That's very, very good that he's got that. 2-2, yes, Richard, it is indeed.
Yes.
Everybody just underrating 13th Legion. They're very much holding their own against the Chinese team since they're going 2-0. Well, holding their own in the series and outplaying them since the 2-0. They went 2-0 down. I'd say that.
Yes.
They've been very good, comprehensive victories the previous 2 games for the 13th Legion. Oh, Dark Devil is slinging Melkor. I'm going to just look at the way this fight goes, and I think it will go quite well because the Huskars just can't swarm the Chukonu at all, and they're being quick walled out. But then I'm just going to go and actually have a look at what Dark Devil's doing.
Yes.
I just want to see if he's just sending a few resources to Melkor to help him out, or if he's just full sling. Looks like Paladin also looking to add champions as well. He's already got long swords, taking into 2-handed swordsmen, and this is so nice because he's got Chukonu there just basically shredding Huskars 1 or 2 at a time. Monks in the back healing, and although like the Huskars would eventually win that fight, it's definitely kind of a cost-effective trade. And he's getting up a second castle, he's getting 2-handed swordsmen, and sooner or later that fight is going to turn against the elite Huskars, and that's happening right now. This is really intelligent play from Paladin, and basically the 13th Legion have got 1 player slinging Melkor, and he's not really being able to capitalise on it because Paladin's players be intelligent. The one thing is that this castle's going to go down. Like, Paladin has no answer to these trebs. Over here, the Chinese team is breaking into Vodka. Whilst he's getting Paladin, and before he actually has any military units out, and this is going to be disastrous.
Yes.
Because Vodka was aiding his units before he actually had any units to upgrade. It's going to be ages until he has anything to stand up to this. Like, he can crank out Cavaliers 4 or 5 at a time, but he's losing so much already. Trebs on the hill knocking down. That's a really nice castle.
Yes.
That castle's still up somehow, but surely it's going to go down soon. There aren't enough villages there for 2 trebs to repair 2 trebs. Vodka's in a really bad spot now because he's just having his whole eco idle just as he hits it. I mean, yeah, he's researching Paladin, but he's going to need a lot of Cavaliers. And he's half of his eco is idle, or it was. He's certainly lost the farmland and having to remake it all over here.
Yes.
He's at least going to get conscription done before he loses that castle. Let's look what Dark Devil's doing. He's on 1 military, so he's full boom, and it feels like, judging by the number of tribute notifications I'm seeing up here, it feels like he's just still full slinging different players. I'm not sure if he's slinging one or both players. I can actually scroll and see that, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that Dark Devil has switched to full slinging Vodka just because he's got 2 players on him at the moment, and Melkor's coming to help out at least, but that's a lot more paladins coming in. Elite plumes as well, and just as Melkor goes over there to help out Vodka, in come champions, Chukonus, monks, and the Treb for the Chinese team, and Melkor could have basically no base left by the time most of his army gets back. Like, champions are, they don't counter Huskars, but they do better against them. And I don't think Melkor has the swordsman technology research, which means it would take him forever to start making champions of his own, and then the champions would just die to the Chukonus. It's looking really bad for Melkor, considering he's leading his team's score by 2k. That's really, really ominous. Obviously he's leading it by so much because he got the most sling, and he's doing quite well over here, but they're not killing any of Q's plumed archers. He's just adding more and more and more, and they're positioned really well, doing so much damage, and they can't really get at them. Melkor's kind of keeping Paladin at bay just about, but if a couple more Trebs appeared here, I don't really know what Melkor would do. As long as kind of Paladin keeps just enough Shukonu and just enough champions, though, the Huskars can't go in there. That castle is so nice for Q as well. Just kind of solidifies this gap. Oh, I accidentally hit my mouse wheel. Because right now the 13th Legion have a nice team war, but this is the hole in it that they've made, and they basically just want to keep the hole open. So the fact that they've managed to get a castle up there in the hole and can just keep streaming in through it, it's really, really helpful to them. And they can more or less just means that the 13th Legion are never even going to trade in this game, because they can always just kind of run into here. Vodka's come over here to try and help Melkor, which I think is intelligent, because paladins are what was needed to make any progress against this. Like, elite Huskars were never going to do anything really. Certainly not in the numbers that Melkor had them anyway. Problem is that Paladin's just coming forward with more castles and then bombard towers, so although Vodka can come over here and clean up some units, he's never going to take the ground back with just Paladins. And that's about all he can do at the moment, because his Spanish pocket, he needs to keep spamming Paladins, so Melkor's got to figure out a way to kind of take his base back by himself there. This is just so nice. Like, 1 tile gap just to stream reinforcements, but just put some walls in to ensure that the plumed archers can just sit there, camp there all day, just taking stuff down. Dark Devil's still on full sling. Like, he's slinging with 150 vills, and they're starting to try and make trade, but it's gonna be so unsafe. Melkor's more or less lost his original base now. Defeated. King Snipe. There must have been a king in that castle. Oh my god, is that it? Is that it? Is that the king? I don't know. Wow, I can't believe I missed it. I missed the king kill. Part of me wants to just rewind it so we can see just how it happened, or just at least see where the king was. I might, just as to end the stream for you, I might open the rec and just see where the king was garrisoned for you. So I'll change the score, but we'll just jump back in for those of you who are interested, because king snipes are always one of those funny things that people like to see. And I was saying at the start of the game that there have been a ton of king snipes this year, like way more than kind of would expect, and that's what's happened here. Like it came true. So I'm going to go on to the lowest resolution and just hit fast forward and just try and see what happened. So Melkor's king was in here to start with. So let's see if it stayed there.
Yes.
We just need to fast forward to, I think it was 32 minutes. And we
Yes.
shall see. I'll do it. Once we get there, I'll do it in like super slow motion
Yes.
so you can see it die.
Yes.
10 minutes, 11 minutes. For the person in the chat here wanted 3 hours, all I can say is you're kind of sadistic. I definitely did not want 3 hours. I've already been streaming.
Yes.
Does it go faster if I turn off the dashboard? Is that really true? No, I don't think that's had an effect.
Yes.
That's had no effect on the speed. But yeah, King is still here at 21 minutes, so I'm gonna guess it is here at 32. But I'll actually show you the death of the king, since it was also the defining moment of the series. Like 13th Legion had come back really strongly from 2-0 down to 2-2, and then their hopes died with their king. So poetic. Just need to be careful not to overrun this.
Yes.
So once it gets to probably about 29 or 30, I'm going to actually just ensure you don't miss it by slowing it down. Just getting the resolution sorted out.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Right, let's go full res for now. Okay, so let's just wait until we start to see the castle die or be destroyed. So the king is still there.
Yes.
There's one Treb over here just taking it down. Let's slow it down in case we miss it.
Yes.
There's no Trebs there for now, so I can fast forward a little bit because the castle won't actually go down until a Treb comes back, I would have thought.
Yes.
I wonder if he accidentally ungarrisons it, but I think the castle was destroyed at the moment the game ended, so.
Yes.
Where are the Trebs going to come from that destroy the castle? Must be this one.
Yes.
I guess the champions could do it as well, but probably the Treb. At this point, the king is still in there, and you would have kind of hoped that, you know,
Yes.
Melkor's at such a risk of
Yes.
losing this castle that he might have relocated that king by now, but let's see.
Yes.
Here we go. Probably 2 more shots from the trip. There we go, here it is. It comes out, it gets on garrison by the castle going down to low HP, but for now there are no units of Paladin. I've slowed it down to really slow speed, so that's why it looks like it's moving and like stuttering. But let's see. Melkor doesn't even notice his king gets popped out.
Yes. Yes.
So it seems that what happens is that basically Vodka loses all his paladins, and then Paladin himself just advances a little bit, and his army kills the king, which has been standing here for a long time now. Will it be this Paladin? Is this the assassin? No, I think that Paladin will die. So we should have bets in the chat as to what type of unit actually destroys the king, actually kills the king. Will it be a champion? Will it be a paladin? Will it be a Chukonu?
Yes.
Oh, it was more than 32 minutes then, apparently. This must be it. I'm sure that Paladin's going to move his units forward now. Or is it these champions?
Yes.
I'm interested to see if like Paladin's units kill it by accident or if he spots it and right clicks. Here we go. This must be it.
Yes.
Yeah, those champions seem to kind of change direction. I think that may have been a Paladin right click. Like...
Yes.
Chuko news at the end. GG. The end. Alright. You've had your fun. Oh.